What would you like to see first?
The baby bears.
Come along then.
The baby sun bears are very pleased to see them, or anybody who looks as if they might have tidbits for them. But you must be careful with bears, even little ones, for they're never quite as friendly as they look. It wouldn't do to try and stroke them. This is Mrs. Reindeer and her little son, who's only a very few weeks old. Well, they're very friendly. I'm quite glad to see Gary and Tanya, because they're bringing them their favourite food. That queer crinkly stuff is a special kind of moss, which grows freely only in the cold countries reindeers come from. It's their special food, and if they didn't get some here, they wouldn't thrive. The little reindeer likes being fed, but he's just a little too shy to be actually touched. You see those two stumpy growths on his head? They are the beginnings of his antlers. Every year they get bigger and bigger, until, when he's fully grown, he'll have a truly magnificent pair like father's. You've seen pictures of reindeer in books, of course. Join the sleigh of Santa Claus. Well, now you've seen a real one. This is a very different kind of baby. Mrs. Lima carries her baby about with her, pick-a-back, wherever she goes. The little one hangs on with arms and legs ever so tightly, and no matter how fast mother runs or how far she jumps, baby never falls off. Monkeys and several other animals that live in trees carry their little ones like this. And this is Mrs. Wallaby. She's a cousin of the kangaroos, just like them, only smaller. She has the same long thick tail and uses it to balance herself when she sits up. She carries her baby in her pouch from the time it's born until long after it's able to come out and run about.
Put it down there, Gary.
Now here's quite a surprise for the children. Uncle has arranged with Keeper Hitchcock to bring the lion cubs out from their den in the lion house onto the grass. Father Lion doesn't quite like it. The cubs don't quite know what to make of it. You see, they're only 10 weeks old, and never before been outside in the bright daylight. It's a great big new world to them. Everything's very strange, and they're very puzzled by it all.
Why do baby lions have spots, Uncle? Big lions don't.
So that when Mother leaves them in the long grass, while she is looking for food, they won't be seen easily.
Oh, I would like one, Uncle.
I dare say. But you'd never be able to get enough food for it. And baby lions don't stay little very long.
Gary's little lion wants to go home.
Yes, and Father Lion is beginning to look cross. They've been out in the bright light quite long enough. It's time we took them home. You can each carry one bag.
Now, Uncle Bill has brought them to the children's zoo.
Will you show them round a little, please? They want to see some of the babies.
Come along then.
The little fawn of the Virginian deer is rather shy of strangers, but its mother's outside and feeding, so maybe it's a good place to be. Its mother came from North America, but the little one was born after she arrived in England. He's covered with spots, you see, like the baby lions. Only there are more of them, and they're white. They don't last very long. Mother doesn't mind how much fuss is made of her. She'll even take the food from your mouth. But the little fawn is very timid and will not come quite close enough to be petted.
Never mind. I'll find you something you can stroke. Come along.
It's the llama they're talking to now. Now the children find themselves surrounded by a crowd of goats. Goats of all sorts and sizes that are almost too friendly. But here comes the supervisor. What's she got? A stocking? Ah, but there's something in it. A baby squirrel. Now this little squirrel was blown out of its nest tree by a very high wind when it was very young and very tiny. It's been brought up in the children's zoo on milk, fed to it through a fountain pen filler, and now it's a fine, strong, healthy little squirrel that will be petted by hundreds of visitors to the children's zoo. Well, what's this? A baby hedgehog. There are lots of hedgehogs in England, of course, but this one is just a little different. It comes all the way from Egypt. You can't very well stroke a hedgehog because it's covered with sharp spines. But this one, you see, is ever so tame and friendly. But here comes Uncle. It's time to go home.
Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you.
What's this? Two tiny Shetland ponies drawing a tiny carriage.
Would you like to drive away in it?
Rather. Oh, yes, please.
So off they go, and so ends another wonderful day, maybe not the last, with Uncle Bill at the zoo.